We're here to discuss the challenges that children today face and all the dynamics of childhood, and just a little chat and discussion. So, anyone like to start on their feelings today about the child and childhood? If not, I can throw something in. The internet. And the internet, the whole thing of chat rooms and socialisation. How do we feel about that? Do you think that's having an impact on childhood?
I think they have pros and against.
Right.
I think it's quite nice they can still. When we used to go home from school, you'd sort of maybe see your friends afterwards, but they can sort of carry on that socialising a lot longer. But it does also lead to, certainly, they can have sort of forms of bullying through that now, which is causing problems, and sort of people can't actually escape from those people maybe that sort of they could have done years ago. Whereas now,
could they have years ago? You know, if you've got two children in the playground being bullied, how easy is it for you to walk away?
But when you get home, whereas now it infiltrates into your house,
yes.
whereas it used to. Whereas now it does actually sort of show the internet side. But it is nice that they still sort of have that, the social side, and they can still contact each other quite easily.
Things are said, aren't they, that they don't actually mean, but because it's actually, you're typing it, you can say actually really mean things.
It's interpreted very differently, the written word, isn't it? Whereas when they're face to face, you've got the tone of the voice, everything else, and that was some issues I've had to
So do you think the internet then kills the art of conversation and that whole, the one-to-one, the face-to-face?
It can do.
Definitely.
And is that a skill then that you think children have lost today?
I wouldn't necessarily say they've lost. I mean, I'd say, cause I mean, my own children, I'd say, are actually both very sociable, but then we do a lot sort of socially with them. So I mean, although my daughter does spend the whole time on MSN and with her texts as well, but I mean, I don't think they have. I think they've still got some sociabilities.
Probably acquiring more skills rather than losing others.
Yeah, maybe.
Gaining new skills that we sort of haven't got.
I certainly haven't got them.
Yeah, no.
In my childhood at all.
And could that be that we're frightened of it? The children aren't frightened of it. It's part of their
Yes.
childhood right now.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
frightened of
Yes.
it. You know,
Yeah.
we don't understand it. It's not what we did. And, you know, I mean, that's just one aspect. But I mean,
it's striking a balance,
it
isn't it,
is.
between them interacting socially with others and then in a face-to-face environment and then through other means.
What about other aspects of childhood? Maybe, I mean, I can think, we used to go out to the woods and we'd play.
Yeah. We could fall around the road, you know.
It's the freedom, isn't it?
Yeah,
the freedom
very much.
of being a child is squashed.
Yes. Whereas now I want to know that my children have got somewhere safe here. You know, we just go out.
I think we're all paranoid now, aren't we?
Yeah.
We know, we read in the papers only a small percentage of children this happens, and we focus in on that, and it's, oh my God, we should let them go.
Yes, because they've got to get that sort of confidence and, sort of become a bit more streetwise, I think, and maybe take that away from them sometimes.
Definitely.
There's a lot of things that happen.
Policies and everything against, or to protect them from everything. There's not just a policy in general, there's a policy to protect them against everything in life.
But generally, and it's been proved, I think, that if they're going to have abuse or something like that, they're actually going to get from within families.
Absolutely.
Generally, rather than outside. It's our perception again that
Yes.
it's horrible out there and it's a big bad world, which maybe it is, but I don't think children actually perceive it to be dangerous. I think they're just growing up in the world that we give them, which maybe is a bit too closeted.
They pick up on our anxieties, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. And they adjust. I mean, this is their world. We adjusted before. I mean, our parents, obviously, our world was different than theirs. So each time, each generation will adjust, won't they? So, and they always do adapt.
Yeah, and there'll always be this argument, and probably for years ever on.
I think that's why we're never going to get to the point of parents or adults understanding children at that time, because then they're in a different world, aren't they, almost, where everything changes. We're never going to have the same perspective as what a child does.
Definitely. I think it's more precious in them, though. I think certainly at school and exams and things like that, I think it's too much. I mean, I certainly don't remember any level the pressure that they have. I mean, we sat with 11 plus as it was then, and it was.
And you did. You just
it wasn't.
And those pressures are coming earlier on. If you think, there are children in the SATs in Key Stage 1, and there are parents who are helping them, giving them extra tuition, and these children are 6 and 7.
Yes.
Because their children have to achieve.
Have to reach that the key target.
Yes. Yeah.
They also have external pressures from things like advertising as well. I think it's a lot more sort of that sort of where the internet and all the things from the media are coming. There's sort of the things that have in consumerism. I think the child has become so much more of a consumer now. that the pressures to have the right trainers and the right sort of
far more
clothes.
materialistic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's far more materialistic to be a child than it was ever even when I was a young kid.
Because all advertising does is give you the perfect lifestyle. Look, if you buy these, you're going to live like that. It's not like that at all.
And it isn't. It's have you got the latest, and phones. I mean, even sort of, if you're sort of with children, you'll get your mobile phone out and they'll all go, oh, that's not very good. And you're like, oh, it's quite nice. They're sort of, year 3 or something, and they're sort of 7 and 8. They're all going, oh, mine's much better than those.
And then they have them when they're that young.
And
when you think about they get dropped off at school in a car. They're at school all day, then they get picked up and go home. Then they're at home on the computer. So the need for a phone is...
I do laugh. I think one of my children came and said, there's a new phone out and it does all this, this and this. I said, yes, but can you phone on it? You've kind of lost the point of what a phone is for. But,
Toys as well. I mean, I can remember having toys, and they were small toys, and now you're talking about big toys that cost £100 or £200. But to them, it's nothing. They have no idea of money. But then maybe we didn't have an idea of money.
I think we valued money more
probably
in our day, and like you say
there
about going
wasn't
up
so
the
much.
woods, up the woods, and you come home, get changed, and back out with your friends, face to face with them down the
park.
wreck or whatever. Yes, that's it. But,
making camps and
that's
just
it.
messing around.
Yeah, when I spoke to a child about childhood and what the differences between parents, he was very clear that when his parents, they had to invent their own games, whereas now everything is given in a package for them to automatically play with.
Yes.
They don't have to have that imagination to interact with something.
And that actually shows when you get them to try and do some writing.
Yeah.
They have no imagination. The only imagination they've got is what they've seen on the television or when they're sitting there.
We have to really.
They cannot imagine playing in the woods or running free from meadows or whatever. It's just that's a bit idealistic.
And I think it's such a leap now to secondary school because suddenly they do have to then catch a train or a bus to get to school and start thinking, but actually we haven't given them those skills because we've sort of let them in caution more.
It's that freedom, isn't it?
But that's probably what they do not, or we perceive them not to have that freedom. Possibly, as you say, you've spoken to, they do have that freedom in their minds. They've got the freedom they've got, whereas we had this lovely, we were allowed to do this and that, and actually probably we weren't. Our parents were probably just as worried.
True.
Do you think there's a difference between that in a city school children compared to kids and the kind of rural?
What, that they're allowed out more, do you think?
Yeah, that they have more freedom, or...
I can think of one example where it was snowing and the children were not allowed out to play snowballs, and that's in a rural school. I'm probably up in London or wherever. Yeah, they'd be allowed to throw snowballs or, so I don't know. I think it depends on the school. Culture.
Well, thanks very much for coming along. And this morning we'd just like to talk for a while on the challenges to childhood. I suppose the notion of childhood is changing. So what are our contemporary views of childhood? And what are the kind of factors that are changing it? And what do you see as the negatives and what do you see as the positives? Can I throw that question, it's a fairly open-ended question, can I throw that question open and who's going to start off?
I've actually done part of my essay on, not one of my work-based tasks, on this. And the thing that came across to me was media's portrayal of children and how they only tend to report bad things. So I think that there's a big stigma of children, and this sort of shown up in the recent Children's Society report.
So what sort of bad things are you thinking of for media reports?
Probably the fear of children, the fact that their children are hurting other children.
Yeah, the negative side of behaviour.
Yeah, unwanted behaviour.
So sort of bullying and drawing them into bad ways.
Yeah, and they're sort of labelling them as well.
Yes.
The demonisation.
Yeah.
If you give someone a label, then they will surely live up to the label that you give them.
Yes. So the children are not getting good examples, they're getting
Negative
examples through the media. And, yes.
Yeah. I mean, for my part, I just think that on a day-to-day basis, children's perception of their childhood is really no different to when I came into early years 15 years ago. The difference is really to do with parents handling their children, parents sort of their uncertainty about how to deal with their children, which has affected them and the way they, what their freedoms and what they sort of are able to access in their childhood.
Yes, because they don't know what to do, because when they were children, things were different. The sort of internet media influence wasn't as heavy on us, so we try and, you know, if we had quite a good childhood, we try and do that with ours, but it's not the same, because they are networking. I've got 3 teenagers, they network on the computer and that sort of thing, and you don't know who they're talking to, and even if you try and...
Parents have a different role now than our parents did. Our parents, speaking broadly, our parents wouldn't have, our mothers wouldn't have gone to work. Now mothers go to work for economic reasons, and they're in childcare for a lot longer. And so when parents are back with their children at weekends and at evenings, they tend to indulge them more. And I think sometimes that they don't set boundaries because they don't want to, because that's the hard bit of parenting. And then they see that as being the school's role, and then that brings it to play where the school.
Yeah, well, I guess the impression almost that with the extended schools and nursery provision and so on, that the government is quite happy to take the responsibility of parenting away from the parents. And
children are going to nurseries and things a lot younger now as well, so that, like, maybe our parents wouldn't have been going to work, so our mums, they'd be at home looking after us and giving us them role models and all of that sort of thing. Now it's up to the providers of that care to take that same role. If your child's in full-time care, then it's at a different level, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I think the thing is it's a lack of confidence from parents about their parenting skills, and the sort of policies on childcare from government has ensured that there is only one approach to childcare, and if children are starting at nurseries from a younger age, they're included into a uniformed approach, and then also sort of disassociating the parents from it, so they have lack of control over that, and I think there's that divide between the two approaches which is causing the problems.
I think it's perceived parental lack of control, though it's not actual lack of parental control, because the government don't want the parents to not have control over their children, because I mean in Every Child Matters and Every Parent Matters, the whole thing of partnership with parents is a huge issue, and I just think that parents are surrendering their children because they want to, because it's the easy option.
Well, that's the economic force behind it, so that's what's causing it. But I think parents are at that stage that they're evolving. It's an evolving stage in which they're losing control, but they're not really sure of what is right and wrong and the approach to parenting. And it's because we're in that stage of being unsure that we're getting the problems that we have with children, because children like to know where the boundaries are. And because they're not getting that from their parents, this is where we're getting...
Or they're getting it from too many
different messages, aren't they? One child could end up going to a nursery, a breakfast club, then going to school, then going to a childminder, then to a grandparent, and at home there's 5.
And everyone perceives things differently and acts differently to certain situations. So the parental side of it may be stricter, or vice versa. It's sort of...
So how do you think parents can be supported in order to recapture some of that ground that's been lost?
At the nursery we are very much trying to improve our working with parents and bringing in parent workshops.
We do parent workshops.
Because we're a 4-day nursery, so most of these parents are working, so we've got to try and arrange things so that can fit in with all their busy schedule. And also set up a parent committee, which is going to be hard for a private day nursery.
We have sort of twilight sessions so that the parents can come in during the evening when they've finished work, and then we run a creche, so it gives them the opportunity to...
And what sort of problems are they bringing forward in there when they come and meet you and the discussions that you have with them?
It's just really advice, I think. Our age group, because obviously it's babies 2 to 3, so we've got lots of first-time parents, so it might be like potty training, you know, simple things like that, and how to deal with behaviour as well, because
a lot of the stuff we get in primary schools is behaviour related. They come to you and they'll ask you how can they manage their child's behaviour.
Because I work in a severe special school, so a lot of the parents come in and say, you know, I can't deal with it. How do you deal with it? Because we want it to be consistent. And sometimes it's just good to have some time to actually just chat, because you know, parents' evenings and things like that, they're very short allocated times that you might talk about one subject and actually it's only meant to be academic, so it's you don't get that time to actually just chat to parents.
I think it's lack of pastoral care within the school as well. That makes an impact if there isn't an ethos of pastoral care within the setting. If there's more of a ethos or there's a flow, that makes a huge difference to the way that parents perceive the school and then will come into the school, because sometimes parents are very distant from the school because they're frightened of themselves.
Yes,
So they're not willing to come in.
Their own personal experience.
Impacts.
But I do think we try and be everything to. We're trying to replace what society and family, extended families, used to provide anyway, don't we? So we're trying to do the care and education, and that can be quite difficult, I think.
I think it's extremely difficult because we're there to educate, really, and I think.
But then if you need to do the personal care to facilitate the
learning,
learning, that's what we have to do. And I think there's a split in education. There's two. There's one that thinks it should be just transmission of knowledge, and then the other part of it thinks that we should be more involved in things like the SEED initiative and certain time to facilitate this learning. And I think that the two sides need to be more cohesive, and then maybe that will give up. If we're singing from the same hymn sheet, it's probably much better for that, but if you're singing from the same hymn sheet within a school, then the parents will be able to see that you're not split and you're willing to take on, or not willing to take on.
But it's got to be